all the delegates who have come here all the way to take part in this very important and unique event known as or termed as MSME Chintan Shivir. This program is being championed by DSIR, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. We are very happy that the top officials from DSIR, including the head CRTDH, Dr. Sujata Chaklanovish, and very senior officials and scientists from DSIR, Dr. Vipin Shukla, Dr. Kailash Petkar, and other younger colleagues. They are all present here. On behalf of the management of IIT Kharagpur, we have the Deputy Director, Professor Amit Patro, present here for inauguration of this event. Our Director, Professor Virendra Kumar Tiwari, is today out of office, and he has given all his blessings and support for this program. And we are extremely glad to see a huge contingent of the different MSMEs who have come here with an expectation that we will all understand, and today we will set up a platform for reciprocal exchange of ideas and thoughts so that academia like IIT Kharagpur and MSME and industries, they can work more intensely hand to hand to develop products of national and international impact. With these few words, we will first have a brief movie or a video only for 5 minutes, which will summarize some of the things that the CRTDH is trying to do over the past years. We are currently in our 4th year, phase 1, the first 3 years passed while setting up the facility, where the phase 2 has just started, and we are now in a more mature state to actually interact more intensely with the MSMEs. So I'm requesting our team to set up the video, and in between, I welcome all our journalist friends, media personnel who are there online, and our other guests who are there online. This program is being telecast live in YouTube. So we have a huge number of online participants who could not come physically. We welcome all of them, and they are also parts of this Chintan Shivir family today. So with this little bit of introduction, let us run the movie. Forget that just a short distance away is surrounded by the light of good fortune and comfort. We often forget that just a short distance away is darkness.
Technology Development Hubs (CRTDH) to promote research and technology development activities by MSMEs and develop synergy between academia and industry. Developed several state-of-the-art facilities to facilitate MSMEs, startups, and has been working collaboratively to take the lab innovations to the people in need. The lab-to-market approach is realized in facilities like pilot manufacturing plants for paper-based devices, kits preparation units, electronic assembling facilities, data centers, biosafety labs, prototyping, and EPSM facilities, etc. Conducted field testing of the devices, conducting training, validation camps, and awareness programs even in remote regions like the Sundarbans. CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur has organized several medical camps, training, and awareness programs in remote areas to sensitize organizations and rural entrepreneurs working in affordable health. With the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur has trained several students, women health workers, and MSMEs and helped rural entrepreneurs to form self-help groups to provide primary care public health services at the doorstep.
For taking the initiative to set up this Chintan Shivir, which I'm sure will go a long way in creating a new environment where the entrepreneurs and the MSMEs will fully the economy up.
Heartfelt thank CRTDH and IIT Kharagpur DSIR for their overwhelming support and guidance for development, mentorship, and success of Group 1. My special thanks to Professor Suman Chakravarti for his unwavering guidance and trusting us as an industry partner and helping us at every step.
I am immensely thankful to the CRTDH, DSIR, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India for setting up the CRTDH on affordable healthcare at our institute to promote the translation of indigenous medical technologies for last mile healthcare network. I sincerely believe that the emphasis on Innovate in India, which has come through this CRTDH program, will act as the prime mover for Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Bharat. This unique event of MSME Chintan Shivir will surely establish a deeper connect of our research with the MSME ecosystem towards making us progressively more competitive in the backdrop of global innovation.
So we will proceed towards the program, and while I mentioned about the participation of the MSMEs, I need not forget the participation of the frontline health workers whom we have trained as a part of the CRTDH program to disseminate the technologies to the last mile. We have representatives of some of those frontline health workers also in today's program. And I think that makes us completely inclusive in terms of accommodating the different stakeholders. Now we will have the formal inauguration of the Chintan Shivir through the lighting of the lamp, and I'm inviting all the dignitaries present from DSIR, Dr. Sujata Chaklanovish, please, Dr. Vipin Shukla, Dr. Kailash Petkar, and our Deputy Director, Professor Amit Patro, and the co-PI of the CRTDH project, Professor Jayanta Mukhopadhyay. Please come on the dais. So we will have a felicitation of the guests. We will invite our MSME representatives one by one to felicitate the guests. Normally we have the guest felicitation by students and others, but we thought that because MSMEs are very much inclusive in this program, so we'll invite them one by one, and we'll have a formal round of introduction of MSMEs also, but their representatives will felicitate our guests today one by one. DD side. এই জয়ন্ত স্যারকে নিন না নিন। So I request the guests to take their seats, and we will start with the first lecture, the overview of Chintan Shivir by Dr. Sujata Chaklanovish, Scientist G and Head of CRTDH, DSIR, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India.
Thank you, Professor Chakraborty. Very good morning to all of you. Dr. Amit Patra, Deputy Director, IIT Kharagpur. Professor Shuman Chakraborty, PI CRTDH at DSIR CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur. The faculty members and students of IIT Kanpur, delegates from MSME, delegates from media, my colleagues from DSIR, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a matter of great pride and honor for me for being present today here at the Chintan Shivir, the first Chintan Shivir in the series of 18 what we are going to organize, being held at CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur, which is intended, all the CRTDHs are intended for empowering MSMEs. So I'm really happy to see all the young faces here, and so much participation from the MSMEs is really overwhelming. So I welcome you all to this event, those who are present online, those who are present offline, warm welcome to all of you. So in the 21st century, science and technology have played an important role in helping India address various challenges. India's vision of becoming a $5 trillion economy is linked with an innovation-oriented approach to economic growth. The micro, small, and medium enterprises sector has emerged as a highly vibrant and dynamic sector of the Indian economy over the last 5 decades. It contributes significantly in the economic and social development of the country, and therefore this segment is expected to play a significant role in the emergence of the Indian economy. The development of this segment is extremely critical to meet the national imperatives across the country. In India, MSMEs are very large in number. MSMEs are the backbone of India's economy and are contributing significantly towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India initiatives, and make significant impact in the area of indigenization. Innovation is at the forefront of India's Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives. The aim is not only to make in India, but also to innovate in India and transform the Indian economy. The government promotes Make in India with zero defect and zero effect, which is a significant opportunity for the MSMEs. And through the journey of Make in India with zero defect and zero effect, MSMEs can reduce wastages substantially, increase productivity, expand their markets, and have more IPRs, develop new products and processes, and adopt the work culture of standardization for their products, processes, and systems to enhance global competitiveness. When I talk about zero effect, it's not about the zero effect of the products and processes. What we are talking about is about the zero effect of the carbon footprint. We are trying to reduce the carbon footprint of all the products and processes. That's what is meant by zero effect. As per the 73rd census of National Sample Survey, there were about 63 million MSMEs, which employed about 11 million people. And the MSMEs contribute about 30% of the GDP of our nation and is contributing about 45% of the exports, which is a huge number, I would say. However, a large portion of the MSMEs are informal and are not registered with the formal ecosystem of MSMEs. Innovation plays a critical role in shaping the industrial competitiveness of any nation. The Innovation Excellence List ranks India at number 40 in the Global Innovation Index, marking progress from its position at number 81 in the year 2018. A new thing which has come up in India is that Niti Aayog has also developed India Innovation Index. I think a few of us may be knowing about it, but many of us may not be knowing about it. And it's important to know that there's an innovation index in India also, which compares the innovation capacity of the states, the union territories, and the hill states. So the index evaluates the innovation performances of the states, the Northeast and hill states and union territories in India. The rankings are based on the innovation landscape and performance of states and union territories in respect to innovation. Niti Aayog has released India Innovation Index 2021 in July 2022. While Karnataka has topped again in the major states category, Manipur is leading in the Northeast and Hill States category, and Chandigarh is the top performer in the Union Territories and City States category. However, West Bengal stands at number 11 in this list, and we have a long way to go. I mean, we have to come up the ladder to at least, we need to jump at least 4 or 5 ranks in the ladder. That should be the aim of the state. It is a much appreciated fact that to remain competitive, MSMEs need to be innovative and perform meaningful R&D, should be capable of absorbing licensed technologies and invest adequately in R&D manpower and infrastructure. India, being a developing nation, has its own set of unique situations and challenges that impede the innovation potential of MSMEs operating in it. Many of these challenges are related to public policy, funding constraints, access to suitable equipment, shortage of skilled R&D workforce, and weak linkages between institutions and the industry, among others. Therefore, DSIR has initiated a program aimed at the creation of common research and technology development hubs, acronymed as CRTDH, to encourage research and technology development activities by MSMEs and develop synergy between academia and industry, which I believe is very, very important in today's scenario. Often we find that the academia and the industry are working in silos. It's not a very healthy trend, I would say. A lot of interaction and synergy is required between the academia and the industry. These hubs facilitate MSMEs to undertake new and improved products, process development, and skill enhancement activities. The collaborating institutions extends hands-on training, skill development, and research information facilities to the MSMEs, apart from research and technology development infrastructure. Through CRTDHs, DSIR aims to enhance productivity, increase the innovative skills of MSMEs, and help them become globally competitive and generate employment. DSIR CRTDH is now a strong family of 18 CRTDHs located at various places across the length and breadth of the nation. These CRTDHs are working in the sectors such as electronics and renewable energy, affordable health, environmental interventions, low-cost machining, and new materials and chemical processes. The DSIR CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur is working in the field of affordable health and is going strong under the able leadership of Professor Suman Chakraborty. All the CRTDHs are engaged in meaningful R&D activities having good societal impact and are also helping the MSMEs by providing necessary infrastructure and intellectual assistance for performing research and development and remaining competitive. DSIR aims to expand the network of CRTDHs across India by having its presence in all states and union territories and contribute in the mission of enabling India to emerge as a global industrial and innovation hub and serve the society in the best possible way. The three vertices of the Golden Triangle are industry, academia, and the government. The initiative to have the Chintan Shivirs is for bringing the three vertices of this Golden Triangle at one platform. DSIR plans to organize Chintan Shivirs in all the CRTDHs established by DSIR. In the first phase, we are organizing 6 such Chintan Shivirs. I'm very glad that the first Chintan Shivir in the first place for phase is being organized at DSIR CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur. The CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur, under the leadership of Professor Suman Chakraborty, is performing exceptionally well and has come up with several technologies. The Chintan Shivir is dedicated to connecting MSMEs and startups with the cutting-edge facilities at CRTDH. The meet will provide a platform for these businesses to understand how these resources can bolster their capacity, enhance productivity, and drive forward innovation in the realm of affordable health solutions. We would also like to hear from the MSMEs about their expectations from the CRTDHs and how we can make the CRTDHs more meaningful and effective. We want to take these recommendations back to DSIR and would like to make the CRTDHs more effective and more meaningful. The meet is structured to address and discuss the challenges confronted by the MSME sector with a strong emphasis on fostering research and development as tools for problem solving. It also aims to strengthen academia-industry ties, highlighting the crucial role of this collaboration in spurring industrial R&D and creating an environment that encourages knowledge exchange, collaborative research, and technological innovation. Overall, the Chintan Shivir on CRTDH's empowering MSMEs serves as a catalyst for uniting efforts amongst MSMEs, startups, academia, and the industry, and promoting excellence in affordable health solutions and contributing to the evolution of the MSME sector. The Shivir is expected to create awareness on the advanced facilities available to MSMEs and the startups at the CRTDHs and will enhance the understanding of how they can utilize these resources for affordable health solutions. During the day, we shall also focus on problem solving and also encourage academia-industry collaboration for fostering stronger ties between the academia and industry, highlighting the importance of collaboration in promoting research, knowledge exchange, and innovation. This is an apt platform for networking amongst MSMEs, startups, academia, and industry leaders for fostering potential collaborations and partnerships. We have a very vibrant team of DSIR CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur working under the leadership of Professor Suman Chakraborty. I'm sure that the deliberations in today's Shivir will be very fruitful, and all the three vertices of the Golden Triangle, the MSMEs, the CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur, and DSIR will have something to take back with them. At the end, I would like to place on record my thanks to IIT Kharagpur for organizing this Shivir at such a short notice, and my department DSIR, and a special thanks to Secretary DSIR, Dr. N. Kalai-Salvi, who is always so welcoming and so supportive for organizing any such event which creates a bridge between the ministry and the MSMEs, because DSIR cares for MSME. Thank you very much.
So many thanks, Dr. Sujata, and we move on to the next part of the program. I am requesting Professor Amit Patro, the Deputy Director and Officiating Director today of IIT Kharagpur, to deliver the inaugural address of this event.
Yeah, good morning. Professor Suman Chakraborty, Professor Jayanto Mukhopadhyay, the PIs of the DSIR project and organizing the Chintan Shivir today. Dr. Sujata and other members from the DSIR, thanks for coming. and in person, because these days we often take advantage of the online presence, especially when online events are happening. But really, we thank you for coming in person and taking part in this event. All the faculty members and all the MSME representatives who have come from all the way, and I'm sure I'm being told that more are expected. So it's a very pleasant experience for us to have all of you here and then share a few thoughts. And in fact, we all are looking forward to the day where India will be truly self-reliant. And today I was seeing a debate, not really a debate, exchange of claims between the various political parties. And I'm so happy to see the unanimity, because Prime Minister has said that within the next 5 years, that is his term, which he expects to be his term, India will become the third largest economy. And the Congress has shot back that irrespective of who comes to power, India will be the third largest economy on the world. So, I mean, it's very nice to see that whatever happens, political and other things, they are all very positive, and we are certainly, this shows that we are certainly going to reach that objective. Still, I think we still have a long way to go, because India is a very large country. So whatever economy we have, it may be even if it's the largest in the world, it still gets divided by 140 crores of persons. So per capita GDP is always going to go down. And the only way it can grow is actually if every individual can contribute. Now, that actually led me to think actually few of the experiences we had while teaching at IIT Kharagpur and also interacting with our alumni. And often it is told that our alumni, many of them who have many of them have not stayed back in the country, and then they have gone away. And they have gone away to mostly in the USA, and they have really found their place, and they have become very, big shots and become the CEOs of Google and IBM and various other places, not necessarily IIT Kharagpur, but other major IITs. So what they have done, sometimes we used to criticize them that, they have actually left our country and they are doing well for themselves elsewhere. So the problem why it happened is that we had, after our independence, we thought we had our model of economy, and we had, after independence, we felt, our politicians or the government felt that one of the things that is keeping India down is the lack of industrialization, which is a very important, a real fact. But something which we did actually, a few of the things we did, one of them was to set up these IITs to create the manpower who will be, and setting up the industries where the IIT and engineering colleges, scientific manpower, they will be employed, and they will actually take the country forward. But as it happened, because most of the industries that was set up were actually public sector undertaking, somehow the actual thought process of how to take an industry forward, to how to make it a profitable organization, those thoughts were not there. It actually was run more like a government department where, we always do routine things and just make sure, we don't rock the boat, we don't take risks, we don't take any, and especially with the government money, you cannot take risks as well, because government's money is actually public money. So you cannot really take risks. On the other hand, so many of our alumni who had actually joined Indian public sector, various scientific research laboratories, one after another, they had actually left the country. And they found, particularly in the US, they found a country where you really do not depend on a big office, big factory or a big government investment to really succeed. They found that they individually, irrespective of whether they work in a public sector organization, private sector organizations, or they are even on their own, they can actually make a mark for themselves. And that is what the society in the US and later on actually even Europe is actually trying to catch up. So this kind of mental framework was not there in India. Even today, we expect our children to study well and then take up a job, preferably a government job. I mean, some of us have preference for government jobs, and some of us have preference for high-paying jobs also. We don't mind taking a job in Amazon and Google, because the amount is high. But always a safety. We do not expect that we'll actually take the risks ourselves. Somebody else will take the risk, and we'll only take advantage of that. So slowly this mindset is changing, and especially I know that MSME, and that is the reason I'm addressing you, that those who are in the, who are having their own startups, they are small and medium enterprises, I can understand that you have actually taken a big risk, and you must be also struggling. Everybody struggles. In fact, I was reading one newspaper, a study itself, that some person who is actually having a private jets is still insecure, is feeling insecure. So MSMEs and anybody who is on their own will certainly be feeling insecure, but that is where the leadership, the courage that comes, and ultimately at the end of the day, you actually have you are the the person who has to take all the risks, and you in that matter actually you are kind of alone. So I wish you all good luck, and in this context, let me quote something actually, which has become, it's one of my recent hobbies is to translate some of Tagore songs, particularly to English. So there is one song which all of you will know, irrespective of what is your mother tongue, but still I have actually tried to translate it into English, and so that we can reach out to wider audiences. So this is actually, I think you know the song, Ekla Cholo Re, Jodi Tor Dak Shune Keu Na Ashe, Tobe Ekla Cholo Re. So let me share what I try to translate in English, and try to sing it in the same way that, that is my attempt, that I try to sing the English song using the same tune as in the original Bengali. So I've translated like this: if no one responds to your calling, you go it alone, dear. If no one responds to your calling, you go it alone, dear. You go it alone, go it alone, go it alone, go it alone, dear. If no one responds to your calling, you go it alone, dear. If none speaks to you, oh, you the unfortunate, none speaks to you. If all the people turn their back and they have a fear, if all the people turn their back and they have a fear, then you open your soul and express your heart's desire. Say it alone, dear. If no one responds to your calling, you go it alone, dear. If everyone goes back, oh, you the unfortunate, everyone goes back. You are going through a treacherous route and no one looks back. Oh, the thorny way, standing on your own bloodied feet, trudge it alone, dear. On the thorny way, standing on your own bloodied feet, you trudge it alone, dear. If no one responds to your calling, you go it alone, dear. If there is no light, oh, you the unfortunate, there is no light. If all the people close their doors in a stormy rainy night, if all the people close their doors in a stormy rainy night, then with the thunder fire lighting up your ribcage, you burn all alone, dear. If no one responds to your calling, you go it alone, dear. You go it alone, go it alone, go it alone, go it alone, dear. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে। যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you so much, sir, for particularly the last part of your what you had to say. So we will of course have the address of our chief guest online, and our team will set this up through the online platform. Dr. N. Kalai Selvi, the DG of CSIR and Director of and the Secretary of DSIR, to address this gathering. She was very keen to come physically, but because of a very urgent work at the ministry, she could not. But we'll be having her talk, and I'm requesting the talk to be set up.
Namaskar, Vanakkam, and pleasant morning to every one of you. I'm very glad that DSIR, the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, is organizing the first of its kind event called Chintan Shivir in association with CRTDH IIT Kharagpur, and the event is happening in IIT Kharagpur campus. First of all, I myself came up with this kind of an idea that, considering the success stories are the kind of involvement that MSMEs are showing and said to be benefited out of this CRTDH, I myself came up with a kind of an idea that why don't we just come up with a kind of a conclave wherein we can just make it as a common interactive meet, so that these MSMEs and the active components of CRTDH along with the knowledge-based partners can really meet with, brainstorm, interact, handshake, and further handhold in the respective areas. So in this respect, Dr. Sujatha and her team, they have taken it up very seriously, and they have arranged, and this is the first attempt that they are testing it from IIT Kharagpur. So I wish to place on record my appreciations, my thanks, and I would say a lot of congratulations also to the team, because it is not only to rejuvenate DSIR and CRTDH team from DSIR to further enhance their activities, but mainly to support and to ensure and to give a kind of a new hope to the MSMEs that DSIR and CRTDH, we are there with you, and we will always travel with you, and we will try to fulfill all your requirements in the way you want it. So without disappointing DSIR and CRTDH, I am glad, I am said that MSME's participation is overwhelming, and I am really happy that MSMEs of the country, because you are becoming the backbones of the country as far as I would say the economy of the country. Because apart from big industries, apart from big players, you as MSMEs, you are coming up with a lot of innovation nowadays. You are interacting very closely with research organizations, and you are working also closely with bigger industries also, by means of which your interaction, your involvement, and your contribution, it is really making more than enough impact in the country, not only in terms of science, technology, products, and process, but also the economy of the country. Because across the globe, many a times, countries with greater economies are getting celebrated, and days are not so far off for a country like India, and especially to India, to get celebrated in the global scenario for our extremely good economical development also. Because now itself the indications are being felt by us, and I would say that the country's economic growth, even though it has a lot of impact on science and technology, it has more than enough importance and relevance with respect to the way MSMEs are showing your interest, and you are interacting and you are performing also. DSIR, the main aim of DSIR is only to ensure the country, that is India, to become the global hub, especially for its industrial and innovation hub across the globe. And we have a lot of dependence on MSMEs as our impeccable partners. So whenever you are partnering with someone else in the business or in the scientific or technology related travel, I think the partner should be a trusted partner. And in the case of MSMEs, it is our experience that DSIR always consider MSMEs as the trusted partners, because knowledge partner will be always the research organizations. It can be CSIR institutions, it can be IITs or IISs or IISc or any other academia. So whenever we are there to offer you the knowledge base as knowledge partners, we want a perfect recipient from the other end to take it from that level, and you have to see that it is getting implemented by means of which the country gets benefited, through which we are all getting the benefits. And it is the place wherein MSMEs, you assume the greatest importance, and without any hesitation, I wish to really place on record my greatest appreciations to every MSME who is getting himself and herself associated with the CRTDH scheme of DSIR. Right now, DSIR is proudly able to announce that we have 18 such CRTDH, and all the 18 CRTDH centers are helping in one way or the other to just declare that yes, DSIR is also there in the race of contributing towards the nation's development by taking MSMEs along with us, wherein the CRTDH is a nucleation point. And today it is very much overwhelming to see that this kind of conclave is happening, wherein more than enough interaction is also expected to occur. Friends, for any kind of a researcher, conferences are very much important. And for any kind of a scientist from any field of research area, interactive sessions and brainstorming sessions are very much important. The more we discuss, the more we argue, the more we transparently criticize each other, and the more we make the other to understand the requirements from our own end, I think we will be able to come up with a kind of real and rugged system of a business model which is bestowed with its science and technology. So I think that kind of magical moments are going to happen in this CRTDH conclave, which is otherwise named as Chintan Shivir, which is nothing but a brainstorming platform in which industry, academia, research organizations, especially MSMEs, you are going to be the integral part of this Chintan Shivir. And during this day-long discussions, you will be able to make DSIR and CRTDH along with academia and research organizations to understand that what is your wish list? What is it that you expect from the knowledge partner, and what is it that you can take it to the next level from the knowledge partner? And therefore this kind of an understanding will help us in a big way, by means of which in the coming days we from research organization, we will be able to travel with you for a greater distance without coming across any kind of hiccups. The kind of technology transfers, the number of products that have really reached the market, the extent of penetration that has taken in the market, whether it is related to electronics or energy or healthcare or environment. So whichever area the consumer market or the society is really looking for science and technology for its intervention, I think it is where these MSMEs and research organizations, especially using platforms like CRTDH, we started creating some impacts, and the impacts are becoming visible day by day. I'm really happy, and my happiness is doubled when it is getting strengthened by MSME, because for you everything is not only a learning curve but also a growth curve. And we strongly believe, we as researchers believe, that your success is our success. The more you earn as mileage, the more we gain as research benefits. And therefore, we always consider that MSMEs should be given more than enough freedom to talk to research organizations. They should be encouraged and supported from end to end, that too unconditionally by the researchers, so that this travel of a researcher and MSME will happen, by means of which the research ideas in the form of technology will be able to reach the market, because market is one area, or I would say market is the interface wherein the common man is getting connected with the rest of the world. And therefore, you are ensuring that we are able to touch the lives of the society, we are able to touch the lives of the common man, we are able to cater to the requirements of the society for its every aspect, and therefore we from DSIR and CRTDH, we are extremely grateful to all the MSME partners, and once again from my end I assure that whatever is the kind of help that you require from the knowledge partners, please let us understand it. And this kind of Chintan Shivir platforms should give them more than enough freedom to express themselves, to come up with their wish list, to come up with their kind of demands, and once this list is known to us, it will be easy for us to rise to the occasion and cater to your requirements. Therefore, without taking much of your time, I wish this event every success, and I wish to have many more such events in the coming days, because it is the #1 event in the series, and a number of events should really come up in the coming days. And I really congratulate DSIR for its CRTDH leadership, Sujata and her entire team, and also all the very eventful participation of MSMEs. And I wish this should be a role model event, by means of which we will get many more successful events in the coming days. With these few words, once again, thank you so much. Really, I miss the opportunity of meeting each and one of you in person, but I look forward to meet with each and every one of you on some other greater occasion wherein you will be celebrating your success. With that kind of a hope, once again, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Namaskar.
So we from our side thank ma'am wholeheartedly for this extremely encouraging speech. We have almost come towards the end of the inaugural session, and we have only a small part left, that is giving mementos to our honored guests. So I am inviting the guests to the dais just to organize this distribution. First, Dr. Sujata Chaklanovich, please. Dr. Vipin Shukla. Professor Amit Patro, Deputy Director. So it is my pleasant duty to an honor to hand over the respective mementos, and I will hand over to them one by one. And So I invite all of you to the tea which is waiting outside. We will be assembling here back after 15 minutes from now, that is 12 noon, for the real part of this core part of this program. And just please be there, and we'll converse and discuss how we can make all this forward. And thanks to all the guests and delegates for being a part of this inaugural event. We'll be back after 15 minutes.
product, Avenida Healthcare. Our company has been registered.
We'll work together. Hello. Oh, hello, hello. 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 Hello, hello, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Welcome back to the MSME Chintan Shivir program. We will have this session more or less on a technical and product development point of view. I will first give a brief overview on what is that we are doing on behalf of the CRTDH, keeping the MSME interest and something broader which could be of deeper social interest. So, I will put up my presentation. So, of course, in the morning session, all of us heard about the central focus of CRTDH, its mission, vision, etc. But all these are very complex at the end, maybe to many of you who are not familiar, And I would like to sum up with what I would envisage CRTDH to be, a friend of the community. Now, how we want to become a friend of the community by working with technologies and by being in the education sector, that is what I would like to go through. Now, out of all the different CRTDH verticals, our CRTDH is on affordable healthcare, and affordable healthcare is something which actually has two aspects associated with it. One is affordability and the other is accessibility. And many times we have certain ideas that, for example, rural people are only challenged and people in the cities are never challenged, something like that. Or affordability is the most important thing, and therefore low cost product can only give a solution for everything. So there are many aspects associated with it, but the challenge that comes to the healthcare sector primarily is because of the fact that there is a sort of uneven distribution of resources. If we can summarily say that there is a heavy centralization of resources at certain places where there may not be that many takers, but where there are no resources, there are so many people living and they find it hard to find a solution for their problems, for example healthcare problems. And very common thing, as common citizens we share, that whenever we see that something is not happening, we blame somebody. So this is our way of shedding our responsibility. I loosely say many times that if I am not able to do well in my career, I will say that when I was a class 9 student, my father possibly did not arrange for a particular tutor because of which I am not doing well. And I am forgetting that what I could have done and simply dumping it on somebody. So here the somebody is government. So when things are not happening, people say government doesn't do this, that and all, without keeping in view that those are certain things not always easy for government to do, until and unless those of us who do our own things also become inclusive and part of that. And one of those aspects that we talk about is technology. And technology is important now everywhere, and in healthcare all of us understand why technology is important. No matter a rural center or a very advanced urban center, wherever we go, we find that without technology, even I would call a thermometer temperature measurement is also technology in a way, maybe simple but technology. So without technology, nobody is actually doing anything. I mean, it has become like that, and actually rural places are having more technology empowerment because of lack of human resource to do things, for example telemedicine. So in that way, technology is very much the part and parcel, and it has to be more important considering the primary healthcare challenge. And this is very, very important because there are so many people who are not detected about, say, diabetes, hypertension and all these things, and when these things compound, they being undetected, untreated, etc., after some time become secondary and tertiary burdens. People develop cardiac problems, kidney problems and so many of these, and then it becomes extremely difficult for them to manage it in certain way. Now having said that, and having mentioned that the digital era is something that has boosted up all these what I would say healthcare delivery to the last mile, but there are challenges that remain, and because this particular talk is a bit technology centric, I am going to talk about the technology challenges. So with the effort from various sectors, primarily the government and the NGOs, huge numbers of digital healthcare centers have been set up in India, and they are doing reasonably well. Now why they are doing reasonably well is because we have now national level standardization of the training of the say last mile healthcare workers whom we call as frontline workers. We have reasonable good advancement in information and communication technology, and even business models based on these things are created. But the whole challenge comes in, I am just giving an example that let us say we visit a rural center, be a physical doctor, be a remote doctor, gives a consultation. At the end of the consultation, what will emerge? Almost assuredly two things. One is some basic medication with now certain yojana from the ministry led by the Prime Minister and several others, Jan Aushadhi Yojana for example. It is possible that people get the medicines at their doorstep, even at very remote place. This is something what very positive has happened. Now that being the case, the other part which the doctor recommends remains a challenge, that is a diagnostic test. I have heard from my father and grandfather that there were legendary doctors like Dr. B.C. Roy who used to look at the eye and then give a solution. Now we realize that it is a outstanding human intellect doing the work of AI, which modern AI possibly does. But you cannot expect all individuals to be like Dr. B.C. Roy, and therefore diagnostic test has become part and parcel of a medical clinical decision making, if not the treatment. And there the challenge is combination of affordability and accessibility. So even if there are very rich people, sometimes we say ironically that we are working here, some of our colleagues I have seen, they are having a sudden heart attack or stroke, and they can afford whatever standard citizen of India can do, even beyond that, being a professor of a IIT system. But traveling to a center or taking them to a center, and those 1 hour or that half hour is crucial for life, then what will be done? It is a question of accessibility and not really affordability. And affordability comes on the top of that, and as an argument we can say, well, we will set up a center there. Not so easy, because even if we set up a center, we have to set up the machines to run the center, and if the machines are traditional, it is like with one time investment you have got an elephant, but how will you sustain the food of an elephant? That is like putting a real time PCR machine maybe at a remote place. So what is the solution? The solution is basically to make use of the functional elements of the digital health model and interlace with innovations in what I would call as a cyber physical system in the medical world. That is, you have a physical say device or unit or maybe a strip or a kit which can perform certain tasks of the very advanced medical tests that we talk about, and they interface seamlessly with this so called digital health platform that is already there. So with that vision, we already have our collaborating partners who are very much into that digital health framework. What we are trying to do with a focus in this particular CRTDH center at IIT Kharagpur is to particularly look into the diagnostic test challenges. I mentioned some of the challenges, like the first one I already mentioned, that most of the advanced diagnostic tests are very much infrastructure dependent, and if on the other hand you try to simplify it, the simplification is to an extent that it can compromise with the accuracy, although it may like a so called rapid test that we talk about. And many of these rapid tests, even when they are implemented in by a common person, can give rise to errors. We very commonly ignore this. I can give you one example. All of us are familiar with the rapid antigen kit which evolved during the COVID period, and now it is available as a household commodity. Even if the kit is very correct and very sort of well validated, it will give a wrong result if the sample is collected and dispensed wrongly. If you are poking your own nose to collect a swab and then put it in a rapid kit, 99% case you will do wrong, even if you are a doctor, because you cannot poke your own nose in the way in which a trained person will do for collecting the swab. So sample collection is one of the most ignored aspects. So can you make such a robust test where irrespective of error in the sample collection, it will give a reasonably accurate result? So there are so many of those challenges from the technology side and also from the business side. Like if you are setting up such a center where you have devices, you need to have supply chains of your consumables. Many of these medical units are, medical devices have lots of disposables, reagents, kits, etc. The supply chain is not that well established, and even if it is established, many of those things have to be refrigerated, kept in a well controlled environment. And what we commonly think is an obvious thing in a research lab is completely non-obvious when we go to that context. And this is the reason where lot of great innovations which hype in the media, which get published in very respected journals, never come to practical use. This gap between lab research and what you disseminate on the ground is something which is the focus of our CRTDH. So when we do that, always any work, we require the identification of the problem. Today we have in a later section, we have a MSME Samvad interaction session where we will discuss about the challenges, but the technologies which are implemented at resource poor settings, there are very standard challenges, like you do not have lab quality power, you do not have lab quality controlled environment, you do not have the reagent storage, supply chain, etc. that you do in the lab, you do not have skilled human resources that we have in the labs, and of course the cost factor. So if it is a prohibitively expensive test, people will not go for it. So you have to come up with a solution that will address all these without affecting your pocket badly, and that is what is affordable healthcare all about. And that brings us to the focus of all the technology developments that we have been doing as a part of this CRTDH, from point of care to extreme point of care technologies. Point of care technologies, we all know, we have home glucometer, we have blood pressure, digital blood pressure measuring device, we have pulse oximeter now, we are all familiar with that. So these things are point of care devices, and many of these are either a bit more expensive, they are quite good but bit more expensive, maybe bulky to carry, and maybe not so user friendly to operate, and maybe at the green field you cannot make it run. So that kind of innovation is driving us for developing many technologies. What I would suggest is that we have a lot of MSME friends who have gathered here possibly for the first time at IIT Kharagpur, while some of our friends are already here and they know our facilities. So if you want to look into these technologies, I have purposefully not detailed those because that is not a part of a short presentation, but you can basically contact our project officer Shoham, who is coordinating this program, to look into all these technologies individually and find out your interest. So one drop of finger prick blood can do a large number of tests. We have kit preparation and paper strip manufacturing unit for that. A rapid nucleic acid based test, a substitute of the RT-PCR machine, which can do a DNA or RNA based test for any infectious disease, not just COVID or any infectious disease, it can be customized. In the COVID period, we were working on COVID thanks to the generous support of the DSIR CRTDH, and that COVID app we are now upgrading and in fact using to a great extent to generalize for TB and other infectious disease detection. Lipid profile, complete blood count, etc. You know that in the lab there is something called a centrifuge in the life science labs. So we have a mini centrifuge which we call as lab on a CD. So a small CD like thing, by rotating it, can separate different elements of blood and can do a large number of tests. A portable imaging device for early detection of oral cancer. This is one of the flagship sort of what I would say technologies that we have developed over the last 1.5 year. So for oral cancer detection, normally the technologies are either expensive or completely AI based, where you require a lot of data for training. Now what we have done is we have developed an imaging system which is like a torch like thing. Within 30 seconds it can take the thermal image inside the mouth and convert that to blood perfusion image. That means how the blood is flowing locally in the tissues, and from that, by AI with the training from patient data, it is able to tell whether the patient is precancerous, maybe cancerous in rare cases, or neither of precancer or cancer, maybe due to fungal or other infection, that kind of thing is there. Early detection of precancerous patients is actually saving a lot of patients to from coming to the cancerous stage later on. Antibiotic resistance evaluation is something for which actually we have technologies which some of my former students have developed, and they are not yet into a very matured high TRL level, but this is something on which we have been working on. All-in-one device for oxygen saturation, pulse, temperature or other body signals, and generic IoT and cyber physical interface that can work with all these different types of technologies. So for manufacturing, and this is very important for all the MSME partners, if we see, manufacturing is basically an interdisciplinary subject. So you require design, automation, specialty materials, you require a lot of digital convergence for manufacturing. So what we have done is, we have tried to make use of everything that is possible to simplify the manufacturing, to an extent that we have set up certain pilot plants for the MSMEs to see that how this in a small scale can be done, and then the MSMEs can learn out of that and upscale it for their own manufacturing purposes. And with these kinds of facilities which we have primarily developed in the phase 1 of the CRTDH program, we have come to a stage where we can offer certain things to the MSMEs. Open source instrumentation for manufacturing and R&D support, absolutely open source, accessible to all. As a teacher, I believe that my job is like a teacher more, and as a teacher I cannot act like a business person. So it is like education for all, and therefore this is for all. Everybody can make use of it. It is public money by which these facilities are being developed. Prototyping and testing facilities, regulatory guidance, very, very important, because medical devices or diagnostic devices have certain regulatory checks and balances. Quality standards, that is one thing. Market access opportunities through government, basically we are working on. Support for scalability and sustainability, and shared lab access for incubation support. We can give that as a shared lab access here, so that you can make use of some of the things in the lab. And over a period of time, see, CRTDH program is there, but the financial support for CRTDH is not going to be there eternally. So we have worked out a revenue model where, in fact, from today itself we are going to start, and I have told madam that we are going to announce it today, that we will have a membership for CRTDH. The membership will have membership can be, the member can be anybody, but particularly encouraged MSMEs, and it will have a subscription, gold, silver, platinum in this level, and for every level you will have certain privileges. So we will make sure that at least the bare minimum level you have through that subscription a continued association with CRTDH, and whenever you need more association you can always top up and upgrade your subscription level. So that is how it will have its sustenance, and you can see, if you see the map of India where we have identified the locations from which our MSME partners come, at least we are very happy that although we are from West Bengal, but we are not really confined to West Bengal, and we are actually having a more national level presence. I think as IIT we should do that. And At the end, when we have these technologies, how we take these technologies to the last mile. So, what I say is something that how can we simulate a doctor where doctor is not available. So, the first round is collecting certain metadata from the patient, basically weight, body temperature, the basic things that anybody can collect, and maybe previous medical history, and some other factors like symptoms, and with that a first level AI based screening can be done. When that screening makes some people vulnerable, that person enters to the second level of screening, where some non-invasive tests are done, mostly signal based. Once that screening is done, a cumulative screening score is arrived at, and if that screening says that you are in danger, it enters into the next level of screening where you have the body fluid based tests. They may require a bit of invasion, minimum invasion, but and even if beyond that people are vulnerable, then that will require a more structured and advanced clinical support, but all those can be arrived at very quickly by digital integration. So, what we are trying to do here is to coordinate and integrate all these between IIT Kharagpur and its partners, be MSME, be our field dissemination partners. So, at IIT Kharagpur we have the hospital, we have our CRTDH center as the research hub, and we also have the medical faculty. They have also joined and they are very much there, and engineering of course is one of the strength areas of IITs. So, with all these, when we integrate that and interface with the last mile delivery experts who are disseminating the healthcare to the last mile, and then we can actually work in a hub and spoke model. So, there will be certain hubs, one hub definitely at IIT, some other hubs in some places, say every village may have one hub for example, and there will be spokes with cycles. We have a lab on a bike that we have just sort of started introducing, a motorbike in which you have certain accessories and features, including some basic solar empowered system which can run across places and give services. So, I was just telling at the very beginning that technology is very important, education is very important, but until and unless we can touch the lives of people and make it all inclusive and become friends of people, we cannot really make anything happen. So, what we have tried to do, and more emphatically during the COVID period, that we try to train more and more rural youth and rural women, and many of the rural women, they have formed self-help groups, they have formed enterprises, they have got advanced in their training. I am very happy that some of them are present here and they will sort of narrate their experience in Bengali, what they have got out of this, and many of them are actually at the end they have formed partnerships, partnership units, and you can say formal enterprises. So, I would say that all in all it is a teamwork where we are trying to do our best to make sure that technologies for affordable healthcare remains our focus, but it does not remain like a focus that n number of technologies, n number of patents and n number of publications, that is our work. It is not our work, it is just a part of our work. I would say to become the friends of this community and society is one of the important things, and I would run just a short video what we do. It is not a part of say directly affordable healthcare, but we do certain things. So, this is a local rural school with the help of our group of PMRF students, Prime Minister's Research Fellow students. We have developed a micro solar based system, and our student Karan Kataria is here. He and his friends together have developed something, and you can see that this is how we are trying to make a rural transformation. micro solar system running the entire show of the school where the external power is not required. So, I would like to thank all of you for listening to this. And now there is an objective of sort of trying to see that how things converge. So, some of the technologies that we have developed which require minimal grid power, we are trying to transform them to a type of technology which will require zero grid power and completely run by solar units. And this is something that we are trying to do by keeping all in the loop, and I am sure that a lot of MSMEs will find interest in that. We will enter into our next session where we will have the participation of the MSMEs, and we call it formally as a MSME Sangvad session. So I would like to invite Dr. Vipin Shukla to come to the dais, and I will tell you how we will organize the event. So we have a large number of MSME representatives here, and because of the interest of time, what we will do is that we will interact with the MSMEs in two modes. One is that some of the MSMEs have already been associated with the CRTDH, and they will talk a bit about maybe one or two sentences about their association. We have got actually a feedback from large number of MSMEs about what they expect from our CRTDH, and that we will discuss during a Samvad session between me and Dr. Shukla, and then we will have an open house for a few minutes with the MSMEs. That is how we will organize it. So I would like to welcome Dr. Darshan Chandak from Health Ledger Diagnostics. You can give the microphone to him. Just tell yeah, we'll take the questions. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
I have seen that you are doing lipid profile, but what about renal profile? What about hepatic profile? Have you worked on that?
See, we for the kidney function, we have already standardized the creatinine and albumin creatinine ratio. The whole thing is that all these require particular sort of focused approach to make it a product which is quite accurate, and that requires lot of training, validation, etc. So the whole, I would say that key point of our technology development is that these technologies are platform technologies. All what it means is that the same thing you can adapt for another blood test, you can adapt for another type of diagnostic test. The device technology and the IT integration AI are similar, where the specific tests will have their specifics associated. So any MSME interested to work with maybe new diagnostic tests or other things, we are very much open to work on these, around these technologies and also other technologies, not restricted to this. Yeah, we'll see. I think they will just tell from their space to save time, and then we will have the Samvad. Yeah, so Darshan, please. Please have a seat.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Darshan Chandak. I am the co-founder of Health Ledger Diagnostics. We work in preventive healthcare segment. We are a 3-year-old company. So the initial 2 years of our journey was mainly establishing a network of diagnostic labs, mainly for preventive health checkup purposes. And for the initial 2 years, we almost established a network of more than 150 diagnostic centers across India. The major focus was initially tier 1 and tier 2 cities, and it was a very easy task because trained manpower, machinery, equipment, everything was available over there. And after a certain level of business growth, then we planned on expanding into tier 3 and tier 4 cities so that more people can avail preventive healthcare services. The major focus was to the population where it is not available. But obviously there was a problem with the expansion plan, and it was the sitting elephant in a room. And the elephant is the same which Professor Suman has explained. Now, establishing a laboratory setup in a tier 3, tier 4 cities is very costly, and you don't get trained manpower as well as the equipments and all. And obviously the volume and kind of business, it is not a sustainable model. So that was the major issue which we were facing. So to solve that issue, we had done certain kind of research that either we have to figure out some other methodology, or maybe we have to innovate if we want to grow. So with that thought, we came to know about Professor Suman Chakravarti and his excellent research into medical devices and point of care technologies. And then we got introduced through him to the CRTDH framework, and then we collaborated with CRTDH, and we are bringing into certain devices into market, like glucose testing devices, hemoglobin testing devices, and which will be utilizing into the preventive health screening. And major focus will be into rural areas, tier 3, tier 4 and onwards, those kind of cities. So it was an excellent initiative. I think CRTDH, through that initiative, the collaboration between research and academic institutes and businesses like us, it has become very easy for us. And also getting a research product into market, that was also, the vision was very carefully planned. So I congratulate the team from DSIR as well as Professor Suman Chakravarti's team at IIT Kharagpur. They are doing an excellent job.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Next, I would like to invite Madam Moushumi Banerjee from the Foundation for Innovations in Health.
Good afternoon, everyone present here, all the dignitaries of CRTDH and Professor Suman Chakravarti sir. I am Moushumi Banerjee, the vertical head of Digital Clinic from Foundation for Innovations in Health. We deliver the primary health care to the rural population, to the last mile population through a software which is developed by our own doctors team, and our health workers who got the training from NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation, and with the help of our health workers, we deliver the primary care to the rural population where the doctors are not available. So these health workers work as hands and eyes of the doctor. They take the vitals and all the chief complaints through the software and send it to the doctor. Doctors are present anywhere from India, maybe outside India. They see the chief complaint and talk to the patients directly if they want, and then they prescribe the medicine. In this way, we deliver the primary care. We want to thank CRTDH again. These health assistants got the training, upskilling training from CRTDH, and we have organized many camps with the help of CRTDH for validation study of many frugal diagnostic devices, and in this way we organize many camps, and we request Suman sir to help us for organizing more camps to detect the anemia, to like hypertension, blood glucose test, these and with me 4 of my health assistants are present here. They want to present today. One of them will explain that how they are delivering the primary care to the last mile population. Thank you, and
Yeah.
I'm handing it over.
Yeah, we'll hear that subsequently. We will ask them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
We
Thank
will complete the MSME part. So next, Mr. Keshav Keshan from Mouthwash.
Hello. Yeah, hi. This is Keshav Kishan, and here is my partner, Mr. Amit Mitra. So we hail from Calcutta, and we run a conversational AI tech startup called MeHope. We are backed by Axel and Idea Spring Capital. Now, we actually came, to find that there are a lot of cancer problems. Like one of the cases happened with my relatives as well, and this is why we actually found out why oral cancer is such prevalent in India. So India currently has like 90% of the cancer cases right now, and moreover 75% of these cases go undetected, and they actually get detected in the most advanced stages, wherein the survival rates are only 20% odd. So we actually research more and more, and when I googled the problem, So the devices that are currently used for screening isn't accessible firstly, and they're way too expensive for a normal person to actually afford one. If you actually go for a screening right now, you'd actually get charged say $10,000 just for a screening, right? So it's pretty damn expensive. So the thing that when we actually googled it, we actually came across Professor Suman and his team, and we got to know that they've already developed an oral cancer screening device that is set to transform and disrupt the industry, which is basically it would actually come at 1/10 of a cost to a doctor, and with accuracy that is industry high, to be very honest, and it's an accuracy of 98.2% in the phase 1 trials. And CRTDH has actually been helping us to develop more and more. So firstly, it started as an oral cancer screening device. Now the device is actually able to find out other oral cancer problems as well, or any mouth problem that one is facing. So we are actually really empowered, to collaborate with CRTDH. Thank you, Dr. Suman. And,
Thanks,
Suman
thanks,
as well.
Keshav. We are also very happy to help you developing
you.
the product. And next, Mr. Soumya Satra from CRTDHs Technology.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I'm Soumya Satra from CRTDHs Technologies. So we basically do work in IoT and IT based services. So we are specifically focused on a couple of fields. So one of them is water. So from healthcare, so the basic need of water is to everyone. So even if you are consuming a medicine, that you are taking with water in most of the time. So having a safe drinking water, that we are focused with, and the quality and saving of water we are dedicated to deliver to the general people. So we have couple of projects currently running where we are saving the water that can be delivered to the people who have the scarcity of safe drinking water, and also we have the infrastructure that we can deliver in dirt cheap rate the quality of water, so that everyone can have the safe drinking water at their doorstep. So we are dedicated to deliver that in the coming future as well. So from CRTDH, we are basically trying to get a support from the infra as well as the research work what we are taking it forward, and will be very helpful and grateful if we can.
Yeah, our CRTDH will be of course very happy to take part in this.
Thank you.
And of course because we have limited time. Now I know many of our MSME friends are very much willing to take part in this deliberation, but we'll have that more informal basis. I would like to pinpoint in this respect before we enter into the Sangvad session that the engagement is again very inclusive, and not just people who develop businesses but all the stakeholders. And some of the stakeholders are those who are futures of MSMEs. Like for example, we have a continued training of the ITI students. ITI students are, I think, the building blocks of the manufacturing, the real life on ground manufacturing. So we have a hugely government ITI at Kharagpur, the government ITI, and our team led by my students have delivered many courses to them, and one of those courses, very recent courses, was Introduction to Manufacturing Techniques and their utilities in low cost diagnostics. So I am very happy that we have the successful participants here present, and we will hand over the certificate to them right now. But just before that, I would like to address the other end of the spectrum of the people whom we have trained and empowered, and they are our backbones, the rural girls who have become the leaders of the rural enterprise through CRTDH. And some of them are present here, the frontline health workers. They are really the building blocks. I would request one of them, you can speak in Bengali, there is no need to speak in any other language if you are comfortable with Bengali. Apni Banglaয় bolun.
নমস্কার, আমি মেদিনীপুর থেকে সবং ক্লাস্টারের সুনিতা বলছি। আমরা গ্রামে সাইকেল নিয়ে গ্রামে গ্রামে আমরা পেশেন্টদের পরিষেবা দেই, সফটওয়্যারের মাধ্যমে ডাক্তার এবং পেশেন্টদের আমরা যোগাযোগ করিয়ে দিই এবং আমাদের বিভিন্ন রকম টেস্টও হয় ক্লাস্টারে, যেমন হিমোকিউর মাধ্যমে আমরা হিমোগ্লোবিন টেস্ট করি, একিউ চেকের মাধ্যমে আমরা সুগার টেস্ট করি, সংকেত লাইফের মাধ্যমে আমরা ইসিজি করি, সফটওয়্যারের মাধ্যমে ট্যাবে গ্রাফ করে আমরা ডাক্তারকে পাঠাই, ডাক্তারবাবু রিপোর্ট করে আমাদের কাছে এলে আমরা পেশেন্টের বাড়িতে গিয়ে পৌঁছে দিয়ে আসি। আর ডিজিটাল ব্লাড প্রেশার দিয়ে আমরা প্রেশার চেক করি। CRTDHs-এর মাধ্যমে আমরা ট্রেনিং করেছি। এছাড়াও CRTDHs-এর আমাদের ওখানে গিয়ে ক্যাম্প করেছেন, ডাক্তারবাবুর উপস্থিতিতে আমরা ক্যাম্পও করেছি 2 বার।
ধন্যবাদ। So,
Thank you.
so these are the real, working work engines of the CRTDH to disseminate. And now I would like to invite the successful participants of our training program on introduction to microfabrication and their use in low-cost diagnostics from the ITI, Hijli ITI, Government ITI. Kapil Sharma, please. I will request Dr. Vipin Shukla to hand over the certificates to them. The next Probir Mahato, you can, তোমরা লাইন করে এসো তাহলে স্যারের থেকে নিতে পরপর নাম। প্রবীর মাহাতো, প্রথমে কপিল শর্মা, কপিল শর্মা, প্রবীর মাহাতো, রাজা টুডু, রাজা টুডুর পরে গণেশ সামন্ত, রাজা টুডু, গণেশ সামন্ত, দেবেন্দ্রনাথ সোরেন, so thank you Dr. Shukla. I think we can now sit together and take part in this MSME Sangvad. I will just tell you what is the background of this, that we cannot address all the individual MSMEs in a single program, but we have got actually a lot of feedback from the different MSMEs about the kinds of problems that they are generically facing, and it is very interesting to see and note that although there are different companies and different business models etc., but there is a similarity in the kinds of problems that they are all may be facing, and I think that Dr. Shukla will highlight, he has consolidated many of those, and we will discuss in a conversational mode that how we can address these problems on behalf of CRTDH.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, yeah, since morning, that is the inaugural session, then presentation by Professor Chakravarti, then lot of MSMEs, they shared their ideas, and ultimately the beauty of this CRTDH that we talked with our remotest beneficiary participants, self-help group ladies, and then few participants from ITI who got the certification. This all shows that this CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur is one of the best show model where we can say that yes, that not only inclusiveness is clear-cut reflected, but also the dual ways communication is continuously being carried out. So I congratulate everyone, especially Professor Chakravarti, for that. And one thing also I want to cite here, that if we talk about new education policy and recently announced this National Research Foundation, NRF, both these talk about the research and development at the remotest area, which has peripheral reach, which has reached to the end of the mile, and probably we are seeing lot of work is being carried out by this CRTDH, which is reaches to the last mile. I was in the beginning, I was in the impression that lot of work you are doing, which is point of care related things and which are really beneficial to the remotest person, they are getting benefit. But what about the R&D done by them or their involvement in trying to pursue their R&D activities? So I'm happy to see that video where you have shown that school kids, they were doing hands-on R&D work on solar related technologies, which really give us more confidence that yes, our CRTDH was, since inception, was very much in line with what NRF and NEP is doing. So my congratulations to the CRTDH team for this. Now, because I know that the time is short and we have to talk a lot. In the beginning, I thought that we should talk much more about something related to working mechanism and the challenges associated with this. But I have observed that most of the points you have well covered, and still I'll say that few minutes we'll talk about the challenges which are in the working mechanism of CRTDH, which our MSMEs as well as the beneficiaries or the end users are facing, and how can you cope up with that. So there are 5 points which we'll talk in short. After that, I think we will focus more on 5 grand challenges. When I talk about grand challenges, I would request you that if we can, like I liked one term which you say, we were talking about point of care technology, but you told in one of your slides that you are not talking about extreme point of care. That is something very interesting. The same way I want that, we want problem statement for challenges, but now we want how to zero in these problems. Like for example, in the morning you said that when we talk about non-invasive technologies, there are challenges associated with AI, how to train more and more data, basically deep learning related things. So that zero in, we want that if you could provide us at the end of this discussion 5 challenges. They are not generic or broader, they are very specific, and then how can you give the solution for that? So not taking much time. So I will give you 5 different challenges. They are related to working mechanism, and I would request you very short and brief. First one is access to expertise and resources. What do you feel that, what is the best way that you can do this for your stakeholders?
Yeah, I think that it is a specific part of a broader, say, structured platform of association of MSMEs with CRTDH. One is access to the expertise and resources. So while till now the access has been through a formal association or agreement that comes between the organization and the CRTDH, we are now making it more streamlined so that you can have access to CRTDH and its facilities through these subscription models that I just talked about. So you can, I would like to encourage you to register for at least your expression of interest. We will come back to you with a model and a very simple agreement which will cover the various things, because in the process of co-working and co-developing, lot of intellectual property related issues come up, the sharing of benefits, royalty, etc. So for that, we will have a simple skeleton, agreement for the association, and then the subsequent thing. Now, what you will get against this? So what you will get is something which starts from our mentorship to you for the lab to market translation, to overcoming the other associated barriers, be it upscaling of manufacturing, maintaining the quality standards, going through the regulatory processing, and developing a business or a market out of the product. So all these are definitely, the pointers, but our main strength, what we can say is, you can say design for manufacturing translated to the pilot manufacturing, and then you can take it over to your commercial facility and commercial product. So that hand holding, starting from how you can adapt our design, and you have to keep one thing in mind. I always see that there is a possibility of a mismatch of expectation. Sometimes our MSME friends may have an expectation that we are like developing the product for like a company. That an academic institution cannot do. Neither it is our mandate, nor it is our expertise. Even if it is our mandate, we are not really good in doing that. What we are good in is innovation. Now with that innovation, the next step is where we have to work together, rather than we are giving something to you and you are like accepting that. So what we call as technology transfer is more of like the background technology transfer, which is primarily the innovation, and in the foreground the work has to be together to make the final product. And for that, I think that it is important that we mutually learn and work together, rather than like, sort of we developing certain things for the MSME. So from our side, we will have the access of our entire hardware, software, and hardware-software interface, which is primarily AI driven for most of our products. So all those things, you will have access to the source code, the algorithm, the device, its physical parts, etc. Now how you can make it, say, a design for manufacturing problem. Very, very important. For example, say we design something which is for a lab prototype purpose. It serves the purpose of our student training and R&D. But as a user, the very, very important point is that it should be a delight to use for all the users. Be in this case, all the stakeholders, be a doctor, be a frontline health worker, be an individual home user, personalized user, anybody. For example, any device should have, any point of care device or extreme point of care, whatever you call, should be of a very advantageous form factor. That means it should be sleek, not very bulky and not very heavy, but at the same time it should have all the functionalities. So all these things require a design for manufacturing. So that is a kind of support that also we can provide. So this is a kind of, you can say, access to expertise, I would say, is reciprocal. That means you have access to our expertise, which has deep-rooted technology and academic enrichment. From your side, we will learn practical things of disseminating the technology, developing the business case, and developing the product. And I think if it is symbiotic and together, then 1 + 1 becomes 11. And that is how we can co-develop things together.
Yeah. Professor Chakravarti, now if we talk about, we all understand that the clinical trials and validations are very important in your field of expertise, and definitely your MSMEs, they would also be involved time to time for such type of trials and validation. So how exactly you can help them in this?
This is a very, very important point, and it is for all the MSMEs, that medical products are certain products which require validation before it gets regulatory clearance, because it is on human health. So you cannot just make a fancy product and say that it is the product. So for validation, there are different levels of validation. The first level of validation is actually done in the lab without human patient participation. And that is something what we routinely do to set up and establish the technology. For example, I am giving you one specific example. Say you are doing a blood sugar testing kit. Now, before taking human blood, you can actually prepare certain standard sugar solutions and calibrate your technology. Now, where it has a chance of failing? It has a chance of failing because human blood is very complex. So it may have certain other entities in the blood which will interfere with your sugar measurement technology, and it can destroy your measurement. So that means that to safeguard your technology and make it robust, you have to take it to the next level, where you may have to calibrate with the human samples and then validate with respect to human samples. So both of these things require a structured organization where this validation and training and all this is done. So we have several of our hospital partners and other clinical partners, also ICMR units, who help us to standardize these things by putting up to something what we call as first level of setting up the calibration, and in the second level providing samples for a double blinded trial. Double blinded trial means you have a technology, you have a device, some answer comes from that. There is a more established technology which is maybe something similar, which we call as a predicate device. For example, a sugar measurement, you may have AccuCheck as a predicate device, and a lab gold standard technology, which is in this case is an automated biochemistry analyzer. So the results from them should come independently, not that same person will take the result, because then the bias can come, and there should be a person supervising that who will coordinate all that and report the outcome in terms of two very important parameters very commonly: sensitivity and specificity. So sensitivity tells that how many, say, what is the percentage that maybe a disease positive person is detected correctly with a particular limit of detection, and specificity is about that if you have a disease negative patient, what is the percentage that erroneously you are telling the person as a disease positive patient. So that is, I am telling in simple terms, not a classroom definition. Yeah. So these are the things that come out, and during this stage, and there is another stage. So once this is like more in a controlled clinical environment, and the final stage, which for extreme point of care technology everybody should do, is a field trial. That means take it to the field and do the trial. So we also have our association with several not-for-profit foundations, some of them have talked about, who have on-field dissemination of their healthcare delivery ecosystem, and we can facilitate all the MSMEs to make the trials of the technologies up to that field, and all these reports can be put up for regulatory clearance by CDSCO, the appropriate regulatory body in India.
Yeah, so I think you have given a very good clarity about not only clinical trials and validation, but also about regulatory compliances also. And I would say that maybe probably after this Shivir, you can have much more detailed discussion with MSMEs regarding regulatory compliances also. And that is something which is more required when you have to come to the market. And if you want to add something more on regulatory compliances, yes, in simpler way, so you can.
Yeah, regulatory compliance, if you see that it is a very dynamic process, and in India CDSCO has certain classifications of the medical devices, class A, class B, class C, etc. So what we have to see is that whatever technology or device you are talking about, which class it belongs to. Some of the classes are very sensitive to the control in which the test is being done. For example, if you have a infectious disease sample being tested, extreme infectious disease sample, that is one thing. It may require in the what you say as the gold standard, the biosafety level 3, which is the highest, in a very sensitive biosafety environment for the sample handling. Now that is one, you have to basically see which class, and for that class what are the quality checks and balances. So these are the things which are available, and we can guide you where to look into that. And very often it is recommended that we have for each of these technologies a regulatory consultant who consults and gives the complete guidance of how to put up this paperwork. And many of our MSMEs have very learned consultants who do this, and if we form a consortium, I think others can also take the benefit of that association and learn exactly what is required to be put up as a dossier to support the claims. And after that there is a standard visit to the manufacturing facilities, and there is a way in which the kits have to be produced and licensed, and the manufacturing facilities therefore have to be also quality controlled, because that visit is the final thing before the commercial clearance of the product is given. So I think all the MSMEs, when they are trying to develop a product, they should keep an eye on, of course, the business creation, the business model development, but also setting up the manufacturing unit. If you cannot set up, I would say better collaborate with some very well established, maybe the research parts or research units where such controlled units are already available, and the regulatory compliance team which will look into these, because if these things are taken care of, very quickly it is possible to bring a high TRL technology to commercialization.
So now we will talk more about technical challenges, and as I said in the beginning, and I am quoting from your discussion also, like you talked about form factor reduction. So this is a broader statement of challenge, that how to reduce the form factor for the device. But now in this part of discussion, I would request you that if you can talk about 5 very specific, like form factor reduction, where exactly do we need to intervene? The same way as earlier I said that non-invasive technology, you talked about AI, so where exactly we need to look into. So in that way, 5 challenges if you can share with us. And also you just now you said about talked about consortia effort. So can you visualize something that, because we know that you alone cannot do this thing, some of the MSMEs or maybe some field workers are required. So if you can suggest the consortia also for each challenge in brief, if you can share.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will be very focused about the challenges. So if and the challenges I will talk about will be based on the type of technology. So if you see the diagnostic technologies overall, I would classify it into certain types based on the product development point of view. One is complete non-invasive, which these days is either it is dependent on the body signal acquisition or AI based, so or a combination of these. So this is complete non-invasive, and I will come to the challenges associated with that. Invasive technologies, we know that they have challenges, but that is not within the part of this more or less our focus, because for that already established gold standards are there. Where I will come to more specific technological challenges is the minimally invasive technology. That means one drop, maybe finger prick blood, or maybe taking a saliva through a bud type of thing, that type of, which is minimally invasive you can say. So for the non-invasive, the first challenge that I will talk about is in the point of care system, we do not have very sophisticated signal acquisition system. Now, for example, say talk about ECG. I am just giving a common example because this is well known by everybody. You cannot have that elaborate, that electrical arrangement that you have in the normal ECG. So you sacrifice certain quality of your signal. Let us say that you have a fluorescence based technology which is looking into some optics. If you have a portable fluidimeter, you will not get that quality of your optical readout. So the challenge with the non-invasive things technically is the compromised quality of the signal. When I am talking about the signal, it is both signal in the literal sense, or even the image is also a signal, because we talk about noise and signal ratio. So how to, you can say, make it more favorable signal to noise. That means less noise, more signal. So this is one challenge. And this is a great technology challenge because your boundary condition is you cannot make it expensive. So your circuitry or your devices have to be simple, user friendly, but not highly noisy technically. So this is number one. The second is that in terms of getting the data from the non-invasive system, is it correlating specifically with the physiology? I very commonly give an example to many of my students very casually. It is not a very correct scientific example, but I always as a teacher try to exaggerate things so that you can get a feel. We talk about non-invasive hemoglobin test or anemia test. Now it is very popular and smartwatches, many other things have this. So one of my students, she is a doctor from our School of Medical Science and Technology. She was developing a non-invasive technology for anemia detection with a pilot project with all the girl students on our campus. And she has done to an extent, now she has completed her study and next set of students are going to take it up. Now I gave them a challenge. I said that your non-invasive thing is based on certain redness converted into some digital information. And that is through some spectroscopy and all those things in a simplified form. Now I give an example. A patient comes who has red eyes because of conjunctivitis, who has deep red lipstick, takes chews beetle leaves so that the tongue is red, uses nail polish, red color, and you use the redness of these as features to detect whether the person is anemic or not. This poor lady can be highly anemic, because of several reasons. So the thing is that when you are doing with AI, we see very normally what we see in the, as a joke in Facebook, that your smartwatch is saying that congratulations, you have lost 10 kgs of weight instantly because some wolf has come and actually sort of eaten up one of your hands in the jungle. So this is abuse of AI. The problem is not with AI. The problem is how we use it. I have seen in the summer when we were in Europe and my son was wearing the smartwatch just to see his workout, and he just showed it to me. Dad, you see that these thousands of kilometers I have run, but actually I have not run because the car has run the high speed TGV train in France, had run from one place to another place, huge distance it has covered. So smartwatch is showing that he has run that, that distance, although he may be very lazy. So this is why, this is what is, we have to see, and this over digitization without looking into, the crux of whether it is giving the physiological information. So this is for the non-invasive. For the minimally invasive, I think the major challenge for the technology, which is very commonly neglected, in fact I am writing a review article on that itself, is the sample collection issue. This is an extremely neglected part. That is why in my team, everybody is there, but I tell, my sample collection person, for example, Shamol, who is sitting here, that you are my, boss, because if you collect the sample wrongly, no matter how great my device is, it will give, junk. So how to collect or how to actually make a device technology simplification where a frontline health worker working casually and collecting the sample wrongly, still you get the more or less a correct answer. So this is a technology challenge, and how to actually help in doing that. The fourth challenge is minimizing the manual work between different processes. So when you have a, say, diagnostic test, so you may collect something, put it here, this and that, there are manual steps. Its extreme manifestation is a high level automation, a TrueNAT technology, but that is expensive. But you are not really having the luxury of that automation, but how can you minimize the number of user steps, because every user step is giving you a source of error. So how can you do that with to an extent that it will almost give a sample to answer in the technology itself. And the fifth one is a combination of this. That means how to balance the AI and the device part. So for every device based technology, for example, say you are doing an imaging with a smartphone, it cannot be an imaging with a very high quality camera, or maybe I would say even high quality camera is okay, a microscope interfaced camera, that you cannot do. So you will get a compromise. How do you use AI or deep learning to actually extract features from that which will give you accuracy without much of error from the gold standard? And number two is, see, when we visit doctors, this is from my common sense, I say, that a doctor, no good doctor in the world will treat you with one diagnostic test. But as technology developers, we are so full that we say we developed this technology. Fine, but with that one test, will any doctor give you the result until and unless it's a gold standard like biopsy type of thing or RT-PCR type of thing. So diagnostic test along with certain things, say you come with a headache, you go to the doctor, a good doctor will interrogate you with a few questions or even stare at you, look at your body language, etc., and boil down from 1000 possibilities of headache, starting from migraine to cancer, and then take it, bring it down maybe to 10 possible, and then from 10 to maybe 5, 2, and then in a sort of a graded mode, enter a diagnostic test and have a proper diagnosis. So we often confuse between diagnostic test and diagnosis. Diagnosis is much more inclusive. So how can we develop technologies by combining AI and the physical technology? Not ignoring the physical technology, not taking completely AI taking all the action. So physical with AI combined in a hybrid mode, how can it serve this purpose? I think these are some of the grand challenges which can cover many of our technologies.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Chakravarti. I think you have well covered all the things, and I think most of us were also very much interested in knowing the challenges which are very practical, and the way you have explained, I think everybody has got the sense that what are the challenges, and now probably they may come back to you after some time. They would like to work with you on these challenges. So we expect that very soon we'll listen about the second part, which I said, that how you can work in consortium. So probably maybe after some time we'll listening that you have made some consortia to work on this. So with these words, I thank you, Professor Chakravarti, for this samvad. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So thank you very much, and I would like to invite Shoham for coordinating the rest part of this, this particular session. We have one very important part of the program coming up, which is representation by the chamber. So we have Mr. Amolesh Chatterjee, Eastern Region Chairperson of FASII, and I'm requesting Mr. Chatterjee to come to the dais and express his views. And please, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Now afternoon has come.
Good afternoon, everybody. I come, basically, I am the chairman of the agriculture, but basically I am the mechanical engineer. Not from IIT, from a diploma. But from family business, I come to agriculture and aquaculture. So it is very brainstorming, this doctor is explains. But same thing we need in agriculture and aquaculture as well as engineering sector. Human testing is very good, very nice, we have seen. But same thing is we need in agriculture, aquaculture and food industry also. Because whatever food we are available in the market, mostly adulterated food, we don't have that much of testing facility in the lab, don't have that much of facility testing in the lab. And customer is not able to test their product, what are they are eating. I give one example where everybody were eating the milk and ghee, clarified butter. All are, as per my experience and knowledge, mostly adulterated, मिलावट. तो हमारा कस्टमर के पास कोई चारा नहीं है उसको टेस्ट करने के लिए. Or industry, whatever going to any testing lab, they are taking this so many charges. And if that type of kits is available for testing the milk, oil, vegetables, fruits and vegetables, there is any contamination of antibiotics or not, any pesticide is there is not, that is very helpful for the human. And one also my another request from my chamber, we are mainly doing on the MSME. Whatever MSME we are going to the testing for our product to lab, and it is the very costly, steel and any other metal. When we are going to for procure any item, we go to test for the labs, and it is very costly and time effective also. So that type of any device can develop the hub, we can test it very easily and we can do this thing in very quickly, because annealing and electroplating, it is very costly effective for test to any lab. So in that case, whatever any this type of testing facilities available of this metal or anything, paint industry also. Paint also some testing required before using any paint in industry, industrial paint, we require some testing also. It is very helpful for us to, if any, that much of kit is available. And one more thing I add, India is the highest production of milk and livestock, cattle production हमारा बहुत ज़्यादा है, बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है, world maximum. And for cattle require some testing, blood test and so many tests. If human parallel, we can test this type of kit for cattle, goat and any livestock, poultry also. It will help the industry. Same thing is Mednapur is very much keen of prawn farming. If you go to huge testing is required, but it's very costly and lab is not available that much. If that much of front worker has come to test this with this kit, we are very grateful to you, sir. If you concentrate on this product, fish also, because sometimes fish we are not able to taste before mortality, and what the cause of reason of the mortality we cannot able to taste. So human is what human is we can do, we can able to do on the fish, animals also thing. And same thing is also agriculture, flower and any agriculture, major crop or minor crop. Same thing is happening, we don't know why it is crop failure. Horticulture, same thing is happened. हमको फूल फ्लावरिंग बहुत अच्छा हुआ, मैंगो नहीं आया. लीची का फ्लावरिंग बहुत अच्छा है, मैंगो नहीं. Initially we can take this kit, we can taste it. So it is very grateful to you if you concentrate on this agriculture sector also, and also industrial other sector. Thanks a lot. Give me opportunity. Very thanks to organizer to give me opportunity to say something. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable input. Now we are at the last stage of the Chintan Shivir. So now we will quickly play the video, recorded video by DD and PI Professor Shuman Chakraborty, and then I would request Dr. Kailash Petkar to give vote of thanks, and we conclude the sessions for the day.
The Indian Institute of Technology Kharagpur was established in 1951, and we are soon going to commemorate our 75 years. The IITs, and in particular IIT Kharagpur being the first one, was established to develop manpower for the industrialization of our country after our independence. And to a great extent, we have been successful in creating a very good industrialization in the country, and our graduates are well known all over the world. In the current scenario, where India is actually trying to become Atmanirbhar, and we have the Prime Minister's vision of Vision 2047, whereby in the 100 years of our independence, we should be really a self-reliant country. We want every person, every individual in the country to be empowered and to develop, to be self-sufficient, to be an entrepreneur, and so that instead of looking for jobs, they can actually generate jobs and create value and wealth for the country. In this context, IIT Kharagpur has initiated this MSME Chintan Shivir, where we have invited the various MSMEs to take advantage of our technologies which we have developed, particularly in the healthcare sector. We thank DSIR for setting up the Common Research and Technology Development Hub at IIT Kharagpur, and I congratulate Professor Shuman Chakraborty for taking the initiative to set up this Chintan Shivir, which I am sure will go a long way in creating a new environment where the entrepreneurs and the MSMEs will be able to lead the economy of the country.
Any academic or research institution of eminence is known for its outstanding research, development, and several other academic activities. But where the challenge comes is the translation of the outcome of this extremely tedious and difficult research into products and items that can benefit common people. That lab to field, lab to use, and lab to market translation is something which remain to be missing in our academic ecosystem for a very long time. I am immensely thankful to the CRTDH, DSIR, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India for setting up the CRTDH on affordable healthcare at our institute to promote the translation of indigenous medical technologies for last mile healthcare delivery. I sincerely believe that the emphasis on innovate in India, which has come through this CRTDH program, will act as the prime mover for making India an Atmanirbhar Bharat. This unique event of MSME Chintan Shivir will surely establish a deeper connect of our research with the MSME ecosystem towards making us progressively more competitive in the backdrop of global innovation. We are all looking forward to this exciting opportunity of brainstorming with the MSMEs and other stakeholders like startups, and make sure that this interaction takes us further forward to innovate and translate into applications, real life applications, technologies of great societal impact that benefit India and the entire world at large, and ensure good health and well-being for all, with democratization in disease management and healthcare.
So we are almost done with today's Chintan Shivir. Now I would request Dr. Kailash Petkar from DSIR to give vote of thanks. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Soham. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be a part of this day-long Chintan Shivir-CRTDHs Empowering MSMEs, which is to be organized at all 18 CRTDHs, and inaugural event has been just completed, which was organized by CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur. First of all, I would like to thank Secretary DSIR, Dr. N. Kalai Selvi ma'am, for ideating this event, and Head CRTDH, Dr. Sujata Chaklanobis ma'am, for taking initiative to conduct this event. Of course, my deepest gratitude to the Secretary DSIR ma'am, although she was very much interested to attend this event in person, but due to urgent appointment, she couldn't join. But she has given the address, and for that, I'm very much thankful to her for her encouragement to us and MSMEs to take India forward as a catalyst to take India forward and act as a catalyst. On behalf of DSIR, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Director, IIT Kharagpur, Dr. V.K. Tiwari sir, Professor Amit Patra, Deputy Director, then Dean R&D, Professor Chandan Chakrabarti sir, for hosting this inaugural Chintan Shivir, CRTDHs Empowering MSMEs, Professor Suman Chakrabarti, faculty members, and his entire team for taking lead in organizing this event. I would also like to thank Sujata ma'am, Head CRTDH, for delivering an overview on the CRTDHs Empowering MSMEs. And ma'am, your insight on taking India's Innovation Index to next level through our CRTDH scheme. I would like to thank Professor Amit Patra sir, Deputy Director IIT Kharagpur, for his inaugural address and motivating us to keep going in whatever the endeavors we take up. I would also like to thank Professor Suman Chakrabarti for presenting an overview on CRTDH IIT Kharagpur in the area of affordable health, and I congratulate him for such an extraordinary work in the area of diagnostics, which can surely reduce the, decrease the burden of disease prevalence in India. I would also like to thank Shri Amlesh Chatterjee ji from FASI. He is a chairman at Eastern region of FASI for his valuable inputs. We have taken a note of it for further possibilities. DSI's foremost intention to widespread CRTDH scheme is to benefit MSMEs. And therefore, I am grateful to the representatives of MSMEs for your overwhelming participation. I would like to thank Dr. Vipin Shukla sir for conducting Samvad session and providing valuable challenges, and once again Professor Suman Chakravarti for providing opportunities for the MSMEs. I once again thank entire team of CRTDH, IIT Kharagpur, Professor Suman Chakravarti, Dr. Soham, and others who worked behind the scene tirelessly to make this event possible. I also thank Press Information Bureau and other print and digital media persons who have covered this event. It's truly your efforts which is helping us to reach to the community to showcase our work. Finally, a big round of applause and thanks to all the participants and stakeholders who are present here with us today to make this event a grand success. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Petkar sir. So now we break for lunch. There is no post-lunch session. I thank you, all of you, to be here and participate here. Thank you, all the best. We will do a lot more MSME interaction in future. Thank you so much. Thank you.